Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. This is Miss Nabila here. So we're back again with another English lesson. And for today, we are going to learn about habitats. So let's get to it now. Now, first things first, I want to ask you a question, which is, what are habitats? Have you ever heard the word habitat before? Do you know what is habitat actually? Okay, so let's find out. Okay, habitats, the meaning of habitats here is the natural home or environment of an animal, plant or other organism. Okay, in Malay we call it tempat tinggal. So habitats here are considered as a home for an animal, plant or other organism. Organism here means living things, other living things. Alright? Okay, so these are some examples of habitat here. So you can see it can be underwater, it can be cold, it can be hot. Okay, so there are many characteristics for a habitat, and different animals or different plants will live in different habitat. Okay, so we are going to learn 5 habitats, and the 5 habitats that you will learn today are, the first one is polar region, the second one here is jungle, the third one here is ocean, number 4 desert, and number 5 mountains. Okay, now let's go to the first habitat, which is the polar region. Okay, so as you can see here, this is an example of a polar region here where you can see polar bears, right? Okay, now polar habitats cover the top and bottom of planet Earth at the north and south poles. What this sentence here means, polar habitats here are actually at the top and bottom of planet Earth. Dia ada dekat atas dengan dekat bawah, dekat north dengan and south pole, dekat kutub utara dengan kutub selatan. Okay, so the north pole is surrounded by the Arctic Ocean. Parts of Canada and Greenland are near the north pole. Okay, north pole here means kutub utara. Jadi dekat sini dia cakap kutub utara ni dikelilingi dengan laut Arctic. Okay, parts of Canada and Greenland. Okay, antara negara yang dekat dengan kutub utara ialah Canada dan juga Greenland. And then the South Pole is located on Antarctica. Okay, South Pole here means kutub selatan. Jadi kutub selatan ni dekat dengan Antarctica. So here polar region here is full of snow and the weather is very cold. Okay, macam yang awak tahu, polar region ni memang satu tempat yang sangat sejuk dan dia ada banyak snow, ada banyak salji. Okay. Now, animals that live in the polar region here is penguin, seal, polar bear, Arctic fox, and also walrus. Okay, now, what characteristics that you can find from these animals which are similar here? Okay, so the things that are similar for these animals is that they have thick fur. As you can see here, they have thick fur. Okay, see, they have thick fur, or their skin is very thick, because these fur can help them withstand the cold weather. Bila mereka ada bulu yang tebal, ataupun kulit yang tebal, okay, diorang boleh hidup dekat polar region, sebab dekat sana memang sangat sejuk, lagi sejuk daripada suhu peti ais awak. Alright. Okay, now the second habitat is the ocean. Okay, the ocean. Ocean here means laut. Okay, So this is an example of an animal in the ocean, which is an ocean fish here. And then there's also corals here. See, there are many corals, and also you can see other fishes there. Okay, now oceans are area of salty water. Okay, laut adalah apa? Area ataupun kawasan yang ada air masin. Okay, oceans are deep as well as wide. Okay, laut ni satu kawasan yang sangat dalam dan sangat luas. Oceans help to keep places from getting too hot or too cold. Okay, laut ni guna dia sebenarnya untuk apa? Untuk tak nak bagi sesuatu tempat tu terlalu panas ataupun terlalu sejuk. Okay, now animals that live in the ocean are, the first one here is jellyfish. Okay, jellyfish, seahorse, coral, shark, and also sea turtle. Okay? Okay, now let's go to the third habitat, which is the desert. The desert. Desert here in Malay we call it padang pasir. So as you can see here, there are many sands, also some plants, and the area here looks very dry and hot. Okay. Now deserts are the driest places on earth. Okay, desert ataupun padang pasir adalah antara tempat yang sangat-sangat kering dekat atas dunia ni ataupun dekat atas muka bumi ni. Okay, the weather in deserts are hot and dry during the day and cold at night. Okay, cuaca untuk padang pasir selalunya dia sangat panas dan kering waktu pagi dan sangat sejuk waktu malam. Okay, and then you can find sand in the desert. Awak boleh jumpa pasir dekat padang pasir. Dah nama pun padang pasir, memang akan jumpa pasir. So you can see here from this video there are many sand here. Okay, and then plants and animals that live in the desert have adapted to survive without much water. Okay, pokok-pokok ataupun binatang yang duduk dekat padang pasir, dia dah biasakan diri untuk hidup tanpa memerlukan banyak air. Why? Because the desert are very dry and hot. Okay, jadi kawasan padang pasir sangatlah panas dan kering. Jadi agak susah untuk jumpa sumber air. Jadi binatang dan juga pokok-pokok yang duduk dekat padang pasir ni, dia dah biasa badan dia dah biasa untuk tak memerlukan banyak air. Okay. Now, example of animals that live in the desert is, the first one here is camel, snake, iguana, llama, and also eagle. Okay, so these animals have adapted with the weather in the desert. Okay, for example, for camels here. Okay, contohnya untuk unta, selalunya apa? They store water here in their humps to survive the hot and dry weather in the desert. Okay, selalunya unta akan simpan air dekat dia punya bonggol ni untuk hidup di padang pasir. Okay, now this is the fourth habitat, which is the jungle. The jungle. Okay, see? So this is an example. So this is actually an example of a video in the jungle. See, you can see many greens and many trees in the jungle. Okay, jungle in Malay we call it hutan. Okay, jungles are lush, warm, wet habitats. Okay, jungle ataupun hutan ni dia satu habitat yang sangat yang mendap ataupun lembap dan juga agak panas. Okay, There are many trees in the jungle. Okay, ada banyak pokok dekat hutan. As you can see from this video. Awak tengok ni contoh satu hutan yang memang ada banyak pokok. Ada banyak spesies pokok yang awak boleh jumpa dekat dalam hutan. Okay. Trees in the jungle grow very tall because they have to compete with with other plants for sunlight. Okay, macam yang awak tahu, if you go into the jungle, you can see many tall trees. Awak boleh jumpa banyak pokok yang tinggi-tinggi. Sebab apa? Because there are too many trees, they need to compete with each other to get sunlight. Sebab terlalu banyak pokok, dia kena bertanding ataupun berlawan dengan pokok-pokok lain untuk dapatkan sunlight ataupun cahaya matahari. Untuk apa? Untuk apa cahaya matahari tu? Why do they need sunlight? It's because they want to make food for themselves untuk diorang teruskan hidup. Okay. Macam yang awak tahu, pokok-pokok ni memerlukan cahaya matahari untuk buat makanan. So that is why most trees in the jungle are very tall. Now, examples of animals that live in the jungle are, the first one is the tiger, monkey, elephant, parrot, and also hippo. So these 5 animals are some examples of animals that live in the jungle. And now the last habitat that we're going to learn today is the mountains. Okay. Mountains. What does mountains here means? Mountains, in Malay we call it gunung. Okay, kawasan gunung. Right. Mountains are cold and rocky. Okay, kawasan gunung memang selalunya sejuk dan berbatu-batu. Okay, living in the mountains can be hard. Okay, macam yang awak tahu, duduk dekat kawasan gunung ni memang agak susah. Okay, why? The higher the altitude, the air is thinner, which makes it hard to breathe. Okay, jadi lagi tinggi sesuatu kawasan pergunungan tu, udara dekat kawasan yang makin tinggi tu dia akan menipis. Jadi bila udara bila udara menipis, it will make you hard to breathe. Awak akan jadi susah untuk bernafas. And so, animals that live in the mountains have adapted with the living conditions. Jadi, same goes macam desert, sama macam padang pasir. Binatang-binatang ataupun pokok-pokok yang dah hidup dekat kawasan gunung ni, dia dah biasa dah dengan living condition, dengan cara ataupun dengan cuaca dan kawasan pergunungan. Okay, so now animals that live in the mountains, the first one is the mountain goat, deer, sheep, grizzly bear, and lastly is fox. See? Okay, now, because the mountains are cold, as you can see, their furs are very thick. Okay, awak tengok bulu ataupun, bulu-bulu binatang yang duduk dekat kawasan pegunungan selalunya memang tebal to withstand the cold weather. Okay, so that is all. Now, we try and do some practice. Okay? Okay, now what I want you guys to do here is listen to this video and match it. Okay, wait.
Now, match and say. I find snow in the polar regions. I find trees in the jungles. I find rocks in the mountains. I find coral in the ocean. I find sand in the desert. That's all for today.
Okay, so I hope you got all the questions correct just now. So that is all for today's lesson. After this, I want you guys to complete the task that I will be giving you in the group. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me. That is all for today. So till next time, bye. Assalamualaikum.